All right, let's get to it. At the start of freshman year, I was about, 14, and I felt like puberty had sort of just like grazed by me. And I was about the size of your average 6th grader. I had the beautiful soprano voice of a young Charlotte Church. But just a hint of testosterone had kicked in and caused me to grow an incredibly awkward and unattractive pube stash. And I had no social life for obvious reasons. I looked like a cross between a Keebler elf, China Phillips, and John Waters. Which, by the way, like right now, that sounds pretty fucking amazing. But in 1990, teenagers did not know what to do with this, so my phone was not ringing. On most Friday nights, I could be found at home on our blue gingham couch, wedged in between a pillow shaped like a goose, a stack of country living magazines, and my mother, where we were boldly going where no man had gone before, watching Star Trek The Next Generation. Yes! What my mom did not know was that when I would hear, "Space, the final frontier, these are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise," this was essentially my starter pistol signal for my weekly erotic experience with Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Yes. It was also the signal for me to move the goose pillow and put it over my lap. So, Jean-Luc Picard. Patrick Stewart, anyone a fan? I am. Yes. Oh my god, he is the reason why the term strangely attractive was invented, okay? I mean, his head, that noggin of his, just the cranium, it's large and strong with just like a brim of gray stubble around the sides and just bold and bald on top, but kind of lumpy up there as well. But I didn't care, it was working for me. Oh, and his long Lycra spandex uniform, ooh. It was kind of tight and kind of loose all at the same time. And it looked good on everyone on the show, regardless of age, body type, or bust size. Just like this miracle apparel. Just like you zip it up and boom, there you have it. I'm a professional. It's kind of like high-necked and Victorian in its design, just like a hint of skin showing. I mean, who knew what bodies were lurking underneath these uniforms? But it didn't matter because you got to imagine their bodies. Do you remember imagining? Oh, it was such a rush. Oh my god, their bodies just like zipped up like dim sum cards of steaming sexual tension rising out of... Oh my god. And then sometimes we would get like a holodeck costume scene or like a flashback, and I would get just like a few minutes to leer at Patrick Stewart wearing a casual V-neck, like a deep plunge V-neck, cashmere shirt, or like a lace-up pirate top. Ah! Lace-up pirate top! If there was anything that tied in the front, I was literally impregnating the goose pillow. Also, by the way, to my delight, that costume designer did not do... Does anyone know what a dance belt is? It's for dancers to like sort of smooth and lift everything out of the way and smooth out, lumps and bumps. Well, I don't think they had this because every episode I was fixated on Patrick Stewart's just like his little nubbin, just like a little like little pocket, just like a little pocket chapstick poking out, just like a little chicken wiener, just the tip. Oh my god, it made my head explode! Oh my god. Okay, so the show, did anybody watch that show, by the way? Okay, thank god. So it was not Dallas, it wasn't Knots Landing, there was not a lot of like sexuality. it was like science and lasers and aliens, so I had to kind of create my own erotic undertones. So I was totally like getting off on like Picard and his sexual tension with Commander Riker, who was just like tan and a lot of times really sweaty, and they would argue. I was like, yeah, they're gonna fucking make out. No, they didn't. But then I would imagine that they'd like, hey, it's Data the Robot, why don't you join us for a sensible alien robot freeway? I don't know. And Data the Robot, oh my god, don't get me started. He was lean, he was pale, he was good at math, his hairline wasn't going anywhere. Perfect boyfriend alert! And then there was Lieutenant Worf. Oh my god, he was like the warrior guy. He was big, black, angry, and terrifying, and sometimes he carried a battle axe, and I wanted him to be inside of me. It's true. I'm hard right now, okay. So I just felt terrible because I turned my mother's like family TV, family fun times night into like a filthy, gay, erotic space orgy. I know you're thinking like, if you're gonna have some sort of gay sexual awakening in the early 90s, like it should probably involve George Michael or A New Kid on the Block. But no, what really got my rocks off was a bunch of ragtag character actors led by some old British dude who at the time, due to his accent and his baldness, I thought he was like as old as Santa Claus. I had no idea how old, like what was happening. Oh, by the way, he's now 72, and if you look at pictures of Patrick Stewart 72, 35, they all look like sexy 55. Like, he just like aged up early and then plateaued, and he's not going anywhere. He's a fucking sextacular, beautiful specimen. At the end of each episode of TNG, that's totes of briefs. I would dislodge the goose pillow, place it aside, and I'd head to my room where I would lay down for hours, and my head would be spinning, filled with just gay Star Trek erotica, and I didn't know what to do because no one had explained jerking off to me, so I just laid there not touching myself! There's so much great material upstairs in the Tom Lenk wank bank, and I was not wanking in any way! It was like I'd fallen into some filthy cryogenic sleep stasis or something. So high school progressed. TNG went on to seasons 5 through 7. I finally figured out how to shave that fucking pube stash off, thank God. And eventually, I figured out how to go to town on myself with a happy ending, thank God. You have to explain that to people. Take note if you have a teenager. Okay, or don't. Send them to YouTube, I don't know. So I got a social life, and I found my own ragtag gang of character actor crew members, which would be the most sexually frustrated, chronic masturbating group of closeted gays, lesbians, and weirdos, the marching band and drumline. Thank you. Yes. And just like Captain Jean-Luc Picard, I assumed a leadership position. I became the drum major, which is that fool out in front of the band with the big hat, blowing a whistle and twirling a large baton. Yeah, all those things will never get you laid. And I was really excited because by coincidence, during the off-season for Drumline, the director selected our song to play on all percussive instruments, and it was a medley of Star Trek theme songs. Sort of sounded like, so it's just big drums and like the occasional sort of glockenspiel. I don't know, it was weird. So just a bunch of bass drums with like like it was very awkward. I don't know, it was awkward. me beatboxing the whole drum line, apparently, but not well. Okay, but the best part of this was that one of the band moms sewed us all our own Star Trek The Next Generation uniforms. Oh my God! I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. Literally, I have chills right now. Just picture me in my bedroom, alone late at night, trying on my beloved uniform, just staring at myself in the mirror. Just strong shoulders, chic design lines, a sturdy waistband, and finally, my very own tiny Patrick Stewart, nubbin, pocket chapstick, chicken wiener. Oh! Erotic, put your hands all over my body. And that's what I did. I went to town on myself. Needless to say, I graduated high school, never been kissed, never been seduced, groped, fondled, or touched intimately by anyone other than myself. And at 19, I was living at home, going to local community college out by Simi Valley. It's very hot there, but we had a zoo. Long story. Okay. And I just felt like Data the robot, just yearning for my first sensual human touch so I could feel alive. And I was like, I can't be this non-sexual robot anymore. Like, where do I go to find someone that I can sexually experiment in secret with? Oh my God, I'm in luck. It's 1995 and the internet has just been invented for this very purpose. So I took to the Los Angeles M4M chat rooms on AOL dial-up. Remember when you had to pay by the minute and that sound? So I'm in the chat room hoping that I will land my own Jean-Luc Picard, and an inexperienced twink searching for an older daddy type. This should be a cinch! Though I'm terrified, so I think I should warm up with someone my own age. Okay, here we are. You've got mail. Which I thought my dad recorded that sound. I don't know. It took me till like I was 30 to realize it wasn't my father. And I had AOL when I was 30, so busted. So I discovered a stranger willing to send me his picture without me sending mine in exchange. Perfect. And he sort of looked like Commander Riker from Star Trek The Next Generation. Beam me up, Scotty! I decided it's time to boldly go where certain kinds of men have gone before. Strapped on my phaser, my pager. My mom made me have a pager. I prayed that she wouldn't buzz me. I arrived at the El Torito Mexican restaurant in Thousand Oaks. My suggestion, of course. He looks just like his picture. He's tall, he's handsome, tan, brunette. Ooh, margaritas, delicious. Wow, he's really starting to look like Commander Riker now. It is time for a gay makeout session. Make it so. That's a quote. I suggest that we head to the parking lot of a hiking trail on the side of a mountain. Definitely a place where you won't get murdered from your internet chat room date. Mother's worst nightmare. Okay, it is on. So finally some captain on co-captain filthy action, and just as he's unzipping my pants, twirling lights, phasers are being fired. Captain, our hookup pod is under attack by Romulans. By the Thousand Oaks Police Department. I don't know what happened after that point. I mentally transported myself out of my body. When I beamed back in, the police were gone, and I suggested, because I just wanted to get this over with, I suggested we move to another location, which was an abandoned construction site on a different mountainside enclave. Definitely another spot where you won't get murdered. I mean, I might as well have been I should have just given him a rag and a bottle of chloroform and a small pants at this point. I'm still with us, so he didn't murder me. So now we are standing on the side of the Southern California wilderness. We're porky pigging it. That's shirts on, no pants. It's very attractive. You've all been there. And we're giving each other frigid mountainside hand jobs. So beautiful. A word of advice, if you have to check for ticks afterwards, that's not a great location for you to have sex. his place in Studio City, and you think this would be a great time for me to, try making out on a bed or get a blowjob indoors with proper heating. But instead, I go right for sensual role play. Okay, so I had this scene in my head that I wanted to act out without telling him. Commander Riker, second in command, being shaved in a bathtub. It's steamy and there's bubbles and like some alien music in the background. And he's in there and like up comes from the water Counselor Deanna Troi, the beautiful Grecian, like long-haired, empathic telepath. And she's shaving him and just shaving his face. I wanted to do that. Which is difficult with no hair or makeup or studio lighting, I will say. Which, by the way, I hit Twitter to see if this was like a thing that I made up in the wank bank, or if this was an actual scene I saw on TV. Which, when you ask on Twitter if anyone is an expert of Star Trek, I literally broke the internet on Tuesday. If you're in West Hollywood, we had no internet service. But turns out that never actually happened, but it happened in one of the movies years later after I'd done this scene. So basically, I had a premonition and manifested that scene into existence. You're welcome, Trekkies of the world. So we went for it. And that shower was cramped and the water got cold. And it is hard to shave yourself, let alone someone else's face without cutting them, okay? And I felt so bad, like maybe things would have made more sense if I told him that I'd cast him as the lead in my Star Trek sexual fantasy. Which is interesting because now when I run into him at auditions, where he's the casting director, all I can think of is me quietly shaving his face in cold, cold water. Let's hit warp speed! A few thousand light years to 2005. I was asked to appear at a Star Trek convention in Germany. That's right, I've never been on Star Trek, but they called and I went. You're gonna pay me to go to a Star Trek convention? Apparently I had enough sci-fi credits to make me exciting to the German Trekkies. I arrived to thousands upon thousands of sexually frustrated people in Star Trek uniforms whose entire sexual fantasies revolve around Star Trek. You mean I am famous here and I can have my choice of about 100 decent-looking German, male, gay Trekkies, and they will fulfill any number of Star Trek sexual roleplay activities with a wide array of props, choices of costumes, and alien prosthetics. Stupid boyfriend, who soon after we returned from German Trekkie paradise, sexual fantasy land, told me that he wanted to sail off into the galaxy and sow his wild oats. Oh, really? You're telling me this after I take you on all expenses, paid trip to... You want to sow your oats? Well, I like variety in my oatmeal too, and you can... I could have been inside of Spock! For a low-budget Captain Picard with a ball cap! Or a stormtrooper. Don't think I didn't notice the Star Wars crossover at that convention. I could have tapped a lot of gay stormtroopers! You asshole! Oh, I'm under a Star Trek curse. Wrath of God! Obviously, I blame my mother for all of this. Why couldn't we watch Murder, She Wrote like a normal family? So, I mean, clearly, role-playing Fantasyland is just not working for me. Sometimes you gotta lace up your pirate top and be the captain of your own ship, okay? Woo. Plus, I'm an actor, my job is role-playing, it can't be my hobby too, so figure it out, Tom. Side note, a while back, I was at a urinal at a restroom, and there was a man next to me, and he was texting with both hands while peeing at a urinal. Wasted, drunk, swaying, and I was impressed that he could keep his pants up, and there was no guide hand. Like, great aim that he had. It was Chris Pine. So alas, my fantasy came true. It's ample, ladies, it's exciting, so hit that if you can. And I'll see you all next week at the opening of Star Trek, the new movie, Into Darkness.